5 days of fighting between 30th October and 3rd of November reportedly left at least 100 people dead in the town of Damashq in Yemen's Sada Governorate recently. The fighting focused on the Sunni Salafist Dar al-Hadith seminary in the town, which has been the focal point of clashes between Zaidi Shia Islamist militants and local Salafist fighters who are members of the seminary. The Zaidi Shia militants were members of Ansar Allah, which is a group better known as Al-Shabaab al-Mu'minin, or the Houthis, which is named for the group the family that dominates the leadership. The clashes were the latest iteration in a series of kind of ongoing violent conflicts between Al-Shabaab al-Mu'minin, or Ansar Allah as it's better known, and local Salafists and Sunni tribesmen in northwest Yemen. So the roots of Ansar Allah tie back to 1997, when Al-Shabaab al-Mu'minin was founded as a Zaidi Shia religious group by a man named Hussein Badr al-Din al-Houthi. The group was founded as a religious organisation to kind of agitate for the equal rights for the Zaidi Shia minority in Yemen. But the US-led invasion of Iraq in early 2003 led to a series of virulently anti-US protests by Al-Shabaab al-Mu'minin, bringing the group into conflict with the Yemeni state for the first time. Now, a series of repressive measures by the Yemeni government against the group, including a series of kind of brutal crackdowns and arrests in early 2004, led to the group launching an armed uprising, which again was brutally repressed by the government. Hussein, the leader of Al-Shabaab al-Mu'minin at the time, was killed in September. He was subsequently replaced as leader by his brother, Abdul Malik al-Houthi, and under him Al-Shabaab al-Mu'minin emerged as an armed political movement and became better known now as Ansar Allah. Between 2005 and 2008, Ansar Allah engaged in a further 4 rounds of conflict with the Yemeni government, each time with increasingly high levels of violence. Each time the conflict ended with a tentative ceasefire, with no real effort to address the underlying causes of the conflict, meaning a resumption of the conflict was almost inevitable each time. A 5th round of conflict with the Yemeni government began in August 2009, and was the heaviest round of fighting yet seen, including and saw Ansar Allah launching ground incursions into Saudi Arabia in retaliation for Riyadh's support of the Yemeni operations against the group. As before, the fighting that ended with the February 2010 ceasefire did nothing to address the underlying causes of the conflict, and Ansar Allah remained a heavily armed entity in the northwest of the country. Despite the latest round of conflict ending with the ceasefire in February 2010, Ansar Allah over the remainder of 2010 launched a series of attacks targeting Sunni tribesmen in northwest Yemen who had supported the Yemeni government during the recent fighting. But the prospect of kind of renewed conflict with the government was forestalled when an anti-government uprising was launched in early 2011. As part of the uprising, the chief military commander in northwest Yemen, General Ali Muhsin al-Ahmar, defected from the government and withdrew his forces from the northwest of the country, relocating them to the capital Sana'a so they could protect the anti-government movement. Now, as a consequence of this withdrawal and the ongoing political turmoil and the weakening of central state control that this entailed, Ansar Allah took advantage of this, exploited the situation, and seized control of Sada Governorate. In the months that followed, they then began expanding outwards into the provinces and governorates surrounding Sada. However, Ansar Allah faced competition in this regard from another armed political movement, Al-Islah, or the Reform Party, which draws its power base from the Sunni Muslim tribes of northwest Yemen and has a strong Salafist contingency. As such, across 2011, 2012 and into 2013, there were a number of armed clashes between Ansar Allah militants and Al-Islah aligned tribesmen in northwest Yemen in areas across Sada, Amran, Hajar and Al-Jawf governorates, as both sides struggled and fought for political control. A particular focal point for the conflict was the Dar al-Hadith seminary in the town of Damashq. There was particularly heavy fighting in the town in late 2011 when Ansar Allah militants blockaded the town and prevented anyone from entering or exiting. Periodic clashes were recorded in and around the town throughout the course of 2012 and 2013, flaring up again massively in late October 2013. A modicum of political stability was achieved in Yemen with the election of President Hadi in February 2012. He announced that a national dialogue conference was going to be held, which was a conflict resolution mechanism to try and solve the ongoing political and security issues in Yemen. Ansar Allah leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi agreed to participate in this forum, and March 2013, when the conference began, saw a large contingent of Ansar Allah representatives attending. However, the fact that clashes involving Ansar Allah have continued throughout the NDC, and the fact that the NDC itself has overrun its scheduled end date in September, indicate that much progress is yet to be made. At Damaj, while a ceasefire was agreed on 4th of November, this was quickly broken later that day by both sides, with the state seemingly either unwilling or unable to deploy security forces to the region to restore order. While central government control remains limited in Yemen's peripheries, armed movements such as Ansar Allah and Islah will continue to compete both militarily and politically for localised control in the state's absence, making further clashes likely in the short to medium term.